This is a hearing of the Chatham Conservation Commission being held on August 14th, 2024, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Chatham Wetlands Protection Bylaw and Regulations. My name is Karen Latin, and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast live on Xfinity Channel 18 and is being recorded on the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It is being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. The agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of documents for review are posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether you're attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you've been recognized by the chair. When recognized, please identify yourself for the record. If you're attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by using *6. If you're online and you are not a commissioner, please keep your camera turned off unless you've been recognized. Indicate that you wish to speak by using the raise hand feature. So that we have a record of a quorum, I will now ask each commissioner to indicate their presence. Vice Chair Elise Gordon.
Present.
Unmute, please. Nope.
I am unmuted.
There you go.
Present.
Janet Williams is not here. Cheryl Meservey.
Present.
Eric Hilbert is not here. Paul Johnson.
Present.
And Associate Member Bob Delvecchio.
Present.
And I am here. We have established that we have a quorum. Before we begin the agenda, are there any announcements about any requests for continuances today, Paul? Is he muted? We're not hearing you, Paul. Are you there? Paul Whiteman? Maybe he's not on. Let me check. I'm not seeing him. Crystal, do you know where Paul is?
I do not.
Okay. Well,
I do know that 97 Tulipy Run had requested a continuance to August 28th.
Right. Okay. And that's the only one that I have as well. Okay. Thank you, Crystal. I can do it. At this point, Paul Whiteman, if he's here, Chatham's conservation agent, will now lead us through the agenda. You there, Paul? No. Okay, I will. The following applicants have requested an order of conditions. 53 Marshview Road, Elviro and Laura Mastro Buono, map 8C, parcel S38, SE 10-3676, demolition of existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling. Do we have anyone here for 53 Marshview? David Clark, are you here? If not, it must be okay because he did receive it. This is interesting.
Hi, Karen, it's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Karen, it's Paul.
Hi.
My clock says 1 o'clock, so did you start a little bit earlier?
No, it says 1:05 here.
Oh, my computer clock is off. I apologize.
That's okay. I read in the order of conditions.
Sure, yeah, you're in the first one. I got you. All right.
So, but
Sorry
I
about
don't,
that.
do we have David Clark? Or anybody representing Marshview? Doesn't look like it.
This is Jim Mastrobono, the homeowner, online.
Hi, have you read the order of conditions?
Yes.
And is it okay? Do you have any comments, questions?
No, none at all. I'm surprised David isn't there. He was supposed to be there, but yeah, no questions at all.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, then we are ready for a motion. Cheryl.
I move that we close the hearing and approve the order of conditions for 53 Marshview Road.
Paul.
Second.
All right, roll call. Paul?
Abstain.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye, so that passes. Thank you. Okay, Paul, we've got the second one.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioners. The next item on the agenda is a submitted field change request. This was an after-the-fact field change request. The address is 227 Vineyard Avenue, and as an arrow is the owner, map 11C, parcel D131, DEP net SE number 103471. The project was a garage addition and invasive species control. This was an after-the-fact field change request for an extension of an existing low native New England fieldstone wall for stabilization of the garage foundation to protect you from erosion by wind, stream tides, and stormwater runoff. I met with the building inspector yesterday. As you know, this has been continued several times. There are issues with the Soil Conservancy District, which we do not enforce. That is their purview. After discussing this with him, I'd like to recommend we continue it to a date maybe in October. There's going to be a hearing before the ZBA, and the extension wall may or may not have to come out. So we need to sort of wait to see what the issue is with them, and let them make their decision with regard to the extension of the New England natives fieldstone wall. So I recommend something in October, and it looks like
October 2nd?
October 2nd would be fine.
Okay, then we need a motion. Cheryl, please.
I move that we continue field change request for 227 Vineyard Ave to the meeting on October 2nd, 2020.
Second.
All right, Paul?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye, so we'll continue that to this 2nd of October. Thank you. Okay, Paul?
Okay, next on the agenda is a submitted request for determination of applicability. The address is 434 Cockle Cove Road. Christopher and Susan Wilson are the applicants, map 5B, parcel 15-17, R24-22. The project was to install a new septic system and water line and abandon the old existing cesspool.
Okay, and we do have a representative here, so thank
Hi.
you. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good, if you could identify yourself first.
Sure, I'm Eric Mitchell from JCLS Design Company, representing the Wilsons on the proposed septic upgrade. The property was recently transferred, which triggered septic inspection, which was not required because it is currently served by a cesspool, which is an automatic failure. So under Title V and the local regulations, we're required to replace the septic system. So we have proposed a leach area, a septic tank, and a pump chamber. A portion of it falls within the 100-foot buffer zone to the top of coastal bank associated with Cockle Cove Beach. It also lies partially within the riverfront area associated with Cockle Cove Creek. As you can see from the site plan, there are a lot of constraints given the size, the shape of the lot, and the location of the dwelling. However, we were able to fit in a conventional Title V system, and that was recently approved by the Board of Health. All construction will be done from the existing driveway in the front of the house, with appropriate erosion control in place, either staked silt fence or straw bales, wattles rather, to prevent any erosion from coming down into the parking lot for Cockle Cove Beach. So it's pretty straightforward. The existing cesspool will be filled with clean sand and compacted. And the area excavated in front of the house will be regraded, and I believe Jason has proposed American beach grass to be planted in the front of the house there, where there would be some disturbance. All components of the septic will be H20, so they will be able to take a vehicle load if necessary. Any questions?
Do any commissioners have any questions?
I got a couple, Karen.
Go ahead.
So there's I was out there this morning, there's a good-sized mature red cedar where the septic tank is going.
Yes.
That's going to be removed, correct?
Yes, yes.
And I was wondering if you could, in lieu of that being removed, wondering if you could plant some, I talked to the owner was out there this morning too.
Yep.
Oh,
And he was pretty receptive to planting some red cedars to the north of the patio on that property line
Okay.
for
Yep.
privacy. And wondering, because that's a good mature red cedar, if you could plant 3 on that corner there where the patio is.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that other than space.
Yeah, it might be a little tight.
Might be a little tight for 3.
Maybe even 1.
Yeah, I think 1 set back in the far corner there. will
Give it some area to
Give it
grow.
some, yeah, so it's not growing into the back corner of the dwelling.
Okay. And the cesspool's gonna be filled, you said?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, well,
filled and compacted.
And the patio will be with the same block?
Yes, there's been no proposal for a new patio at this point, so
Okay.
it'll be covered up with the existing blocks.
Okay. And he did ask about putting something on the south end of the patio for privacy as well. I know there are a lot of invasives on that property line.
Yes,
He mentioned privet, and I said that privet wouldn't be allowed because it's invasive as well. But if you could put some maybe inkberry on that south end, just to, again, give us some compensation for the cedar that's taken out,
sure.
just for privacy.
Yep, I don't think we'd have any issue with that.
Yeah,
There is, would have to be planted on the inside of the retaining wall between the patio where there is existing vegetation now. But I don't think there's an issue with that.
yeah. Could you separate them from invasives on that end? Is there enough room for them to?
Yeah, there's maybe 3 feet between the edge of the patio and that inside of that retaining wall.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a little room there to plant a couple small shrubs, I think.
Yeah, maybe 3. Odd
Sure.
numbers are better with, landscaping.
Yep.
Looks a little bit more natural,
Yeah,
But yeah, if you could do 3 inkberry there and the red cedar on the north end, that would be good, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
very good.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else? Elise?
No, Bob just covered it. I was concerned with the plantings. So, thanks, Bob.
Okay. Paul, for the RDA, can we add that they're planting a cedar and 3 inkberries to it?
Yes.
That's perfect. Okay, then I think we are, Cheryl and Paul Johnson, do you have anything to add? Okay, then we're ready for a motion.
I move that we approve the request for determination for 434 Cockle Cove Road with a -2 determination.
Second.
Paul?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye, so that is all set. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Paul, we're ready for the next one.
Okay, next on the agenda, Madam Chair, is a notice of intent application. The address is 177 Countryside Drive. Robert P. and Natalie Coleman Fuller are the applicants. Map 6L, I think it is, parcel N14, DEP number SE103694. The project is construction of additions and renovations, a farmer's porch, and second-story expansion to a single-family dwelling. Work will occur within the 100-foot of a coastal bank on Monomoy River, with riverfront area involved and within the Pleasant Bay ACEC. That's the project.
Great, thank you. And Stephanie's
Welcome.
here. Hi, Stephanie.
Good afternoon. Stephanie Sequin with Browder and Wilcox, representing Natalie and Robert Fuller, who are the owners of the property at 177 Countryside Drive. We have submitted since the last hearing a revised plan. Hopefully, you're looking at the site plan dated August 2nd, 2024. So the project here is addition and renovation to an existing single-family dwelling. They're going, because of the proximity to the resource area and the existing building already well within the no disturb zone, it's for the most part just a vertical expansion, a new second floor over the main portion of the existing house with no change in footprint. There are also renovations to the rest of the building that are being proposed, removing and replacing windows, siding, roof, et cetera. Two of the existing exterior doors are being eliminated, along with the associated steps and ramps and stairs going up to them. And they are proposing a new covered porch in front of the remaining front entrance. So I submitted revised coverage calcs based on the removal of the existing steps and then the construction of the new porch. Within the 0 to 50-foot buffer, we are proposing a 45 square foot reduction in coverage. And then within the 50 to 100 feet is a 25 square foot increase for a net reduction of 20 square feet on the property. We are showing on the site plan some proposed mitigation, roughly 80 square feet of the top of that borrow pit next to the house that is bare and I think has some erosion. They're proposing to, first of all, remove the invasive vines that are in that area and then plant the bare areas with red cedar, beach plum, little blue stem, and beach grass to hopefully hold that in place and eliminate that erosion problem. And they're also proposing to replace the existing foundation plantings with native shrubs and flowers. And there was a list of the species that they would use included with the narrative. I did provide a project narrative, construction protocol, performance standards, alternatives analysis, and variance request. Hopefully you've had a chance to read that. And lastly, this does require a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals for expansion within the required setback to a coastal bank and within the required setback to the front property line. I thought that it had been filed, but I'm not sure if it has. It hasn't. The soonest that it would be heard would be September 26th.
Right. So I don't know how many people were able to read your narrative because we only received it yesterday morning. And I just passed it out to the people here before the meeting.
Okay.
And we have Elise, who's not even, well, she probably saw it online, but is not even in this meeting, so physically. And I know you have mitigation listed on the back page, but we don't have a mitigation plan. You've shown where mitigation is going, but you don't say how much of each plant is going to go in and where they're going. And as you know, we usually get that. So we need that.
Okay.
Having said that, you did give us the narrative, the work protocol, the alternatives analysis, the performance standards. I have not had time to read all of it, because I've been doing other things to prepare for this meeting. And so I can't ask anything about it. I'm hoping maybe some others have read it, and I'm going to turn it over to the other commissioners at this point. So does anybody have any questions, comments? Any of the commissioners? Bob, do you?
I got one question. Stephanie, on the foundation plants that are proposed, beach plum is in there. Beach plum gets about 6 feet high and spread. Up against the building, it wouldn't be a choice of mine for a foundation. So, you know, if it's away from the building, fine. That's probably why we need the plan too, just to see where these plants are
Yeah.
Okay.
going to be planted.
So it's Mrs. Fuller, who is, I believe she's a master gardener, and she is involved with different activities, and has been spending, I think, the last 10 years maintaining the plantings that were previously done. And so she has chosen these species, but I can try and get some more specifics on what exactly and where and size and all that.
We need that.
Okay.
In order to do the order, because when it comes time to issue a certificate of compliance, there's no way, just looking at this list, that we know exactly where they're located, did they, you know, to figure out if they survived. And, you know, yes, I know you have an overall reduction. So you may not even want to call this mitigation. You might want to, I mean, I think it is mitigation. It's not a restoration, but, so we could leave that word. But we do need it on a plan and identifying size, you know, all the usual things that we ask for,
Okay.
and are usually provided at the time of the application. So, given that, any other questions? Elise, anything?
No, with the plan, we'll be able to react more. I think the list of plants is fine. Bob's point on beach plum is really a good one, as usual. But without the plan, it's really hard to react.
Cheryl?
I am curious, wondering if there is a way they can use the word restoration instead of mitigation, because you do tie your hands forever when you call it mitigation. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know,
Yep.
if you're
And
gonna pull up all the foundation plans, well, then it is restoring. I don't know if there's a way to get away from, just for your
I mean,
client's sake, if we
We
can.
could simply call it a planting plan then.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, we need to continue this for, I think at this point, as long as you can get us a plan, a planting plan or whatever plan you want to call it, then I think we can go to an order. You're not even scheduled for ZBA yet.
Right.
So what I'd like to do is push this out to possibly October 2nd for an order. But you'll get us as soon as possible a plan. And so that we can incorporate that into the order, and at that time, if we still have questions, I think we could go over those then, because it isn't a large, area that you're doing.
So do we need to continue to a certain date
Yes.
in advance of October 2nd?
If we would continue to October 2nd for an order of conditions.
Okay.
Which we will prepare and have ready, but we need that planting plan as soon as possible so that when we're writing the order, we have that and can include it in our findings, our conditions. And then at that time, on October 2nd, or if you want it later, we can do it later, we could, if there are any questions about the planting plan, we could ask them then
Okay.
and modify the
Okay.
order.
So no meeting in between
No,
now and the
I
2nd?
I
Okay.
don't think we,
And-
at this point, I think you've provided
You're all
all of
good.
the things that we've been asking for since July.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at this point, we're ready.
Okay, and October 2nd is a good
That-
date,
Well, it's the first
Hopefully,
one pretty
right.
much after.
right?
It
If-
gives us time.
Yes, okay, yep,
And as long as ZBA doesn't change anything.
right.
If they change anything, then we'll continue that to a later date after that.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that sounds perfect.
All right, so we
Ready?
need a motion to go to October 2nd, 2024.
I move that we
For an
continue
order.
177 Countryside Drive to the meeting on October 2nd, 2024 for an order of conditions.
Second.
Paul?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. So we'll see you on October 2nd, and hopefully,
A
the
plan
sooner the
before.
better, we will have a planting plan.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Paul?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the agenda is another notice of intent application that was submitted in accordance with the requirements for an emergency certification for 97 Tilpy Run, staging and access on 75 Tilpy Run. The applicant is TR 97 Nominee Trust, map 14A3, parcels 2-B and 131, DEP number SE10 3690. As I said, the project is an emergency repair of an existing coastal engineering structure. The applicant has requested a continuance to August 28th, and I received that yesterday from the project manager, so I recommend we continue it to that date.
Perfect, thank
At
you.
which time all right.
I move that we continue 97 Tilipy Run to the meeting on August 28th, 2024.
Second.
Paul?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, thank you, Paul. Next one.
Okay, now we're down to a request for a certificate of compliance. The address is 24 and 2 Salt Pond Road. The applicant is Edward and Cheryl Acton, map 17J, parcels 2 and 7-4, DEP number SE10 3845. The project was removal and reconstruction of a single-family home, construction of a detached garage, rock revetment, repair, and associated site improvements. I went out to the site this morning, talked with the owner who happened to be there. I know some of the commissioners have been there as well. I have a complete application, a certification from the engineer that the project is in substantial compliance that was dated this month. I also have, after an inspection, a letter from Wilkinson on the planting mitigation that was done, and they are indicating that they believe the project is in substantial compliance with regard to the mitigation. They've requested a condition which allows them to maintain and conduct 3 or 4 times a year the mitigation plants and conditions for treatment of any state-listed invasive species and non-native plants that are observed establishing in the mitigation areas, and this would be an ongoing condition. The temporary irrigation still looks like it's up. I did inspect the bank. It looks stable to me. There's jute netting. Most of the plants in the grasses have done well. There are some plants in the mitigation area just before you get to the staircase over the coastal bank to the dock that are not doing well. There were, I think I counted maybe 10 that were dead. The owner thinks there might be some saltwater intrusion coming into their irrigation system. Having said that, there was a substantial amount of mitigation done on the property. I think if I obviously let the commission decide what they want to do, but my recommendation would be, if you decide that the mitigation's in compliance, because the house and the pool and everything else that was done looks beautiful, it was done very well, and it's in substantial compliance. So I'm just talking about the mitigation and the coastal bank issue. If you decide that the mitigation is enough, it's 90%, survived, they will be able to continue maintaining, replacing those plants with this ongoing condition. Maybe leave the the irrigation system in for a while, until some of those plants have been replaced. So it's a question of, do you feel the mitigation's inadequate and has at least 90% survived? I did not find, the permanent marker for the mitigation area. I'm not sure where it was supposed to be. I looked at the plan. But there is a vegetative buffer strip on the top of the coastal bank, which is done very well. So those are the issues, and I'll just turn it over to you at this point, Madam Chair.
I agree. I did go out today, and it looked good to me. I did see that there were some plants that were, had not looked like they had not survived. Can we, as an ongoing, can we say that they can leave the temporary in until, I don't know, start of next summer or 2 years, whatever you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's essential that in order, for plants have to have water. If we get into another
Correct.
drought situation, they're not going to make it. So the ongoing condition, I would say a couple of years, at least 2, until they establish themselves. Maybe Bob can chime in on this, but leave it up for a period of time. We can put that in the certificate of compliance that it has to come out at a future date, a couple years down the road, once things are established where the mitigation isn't doing well. But yes, we can do that, and we will include this condition that they asked for to maintain and keep down the invasives 3 to 4 times a year. That would be an ongoing condition.
Right. Any other commissioners go out and have any questions or comments? Bob, go ahead.
I didn't go out physically to look at it again, but I did look at the photos online, and I did see the mitigation areas. Special condition number 6 reads that there needs to be demarcation with either stone or a low split rail fence. Did you see that out there, Paul, the demarcation?
No, I did not.
And I didn't, and I actually asked Paul about that. I mean, yeah, I couldn't find it, and I didn't know if I wasn't looking in the right spot. So, I don't know, can we do a partial and say that they need to demarcate? I mean, they have to put in the stone or this low split rail? There is somebody, Ed Acton has his hands up if we want to let him
Yes.
speak first. Okay, Mr.
Yes,
Acton?
This is Ed Acton.
You're, I think, muted. We're not hearing you.
You turn up your volume.
Yeah, maybe turn up the volume, maybe?
Mm.
We absolutely cannot hear you. Well, I just heard a little, very, very faint. No. Do you want to try calling the phone number?
Yes.
Very faintly, I can hear. Paul, why don't you speak while he's doing that?
Well, as I said, I didn't see the demarcation, where it was supposed to be. There's, the mitigation area is substantial. It doesn't, I looked on the plan, I might have missed it, but I couldn't find where that was supposed to be. The mitigation runs along all of the edges around the property and, on the coastal bank. And I would imagine it would be somewhere on the east or west side of the property, but I didn't locate it. I suppose we could require a small split rail fence, 12 inches off the ground along the mitigation area once we can establish where that was, and I can reach out to Sean Riley. I did already, but he's probably busy.
I'm on the call right
Sean's
now.
Oh, okay,
on.
Sean, how you doing?
Okay.
Good.
Maybe, Sean, you
Maybe
can
you
go,
can-
because I
maybe you
think
can help us
Mr.
out, Sean.
Acton's still getting on.
Yeah, Ed's on the call as well.
We haven't been able to hear him. He wanted to answer, but we asked him to call in because for some reason we can't hear him.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The
mitigation?
demarcation?
Go ahead.
Yes. So, so there wasn't a steel edge on that,
Well, it said stones or a low split rail fence,
Yeah,
and we couldn't find that.
all right, let me talk to Ed about that. Ed, are you back on? You're muted if you're on.
Back on.
There you go, Ed. We can hear you.
I was,
I can't hear him.
Yeah, you're gonna have to speak up, Ed.
I have the volume set as high as it can go.
It's
All right,
getting
I
a
can-
little
I-
better, maybe get
I can
closer.
convey what you're saying, Ed, so I can hear you. I got mine turned all the way up.
Okay, I just wanted to address the markers. There's a couple of cobblestone markers on on that line that must be covered by vegetation, but I can certainly clean those off and get those the more noticeable.
All right, so Ed's saying there are some cobblestone markers that are covered by vegetation. He said he could clean those off.
Yeah, that way, because they're
So they're
supposed
more
to
visible?
mark the area, so we're supposed to be able to see them.
We've let the vegetation grow into the grass area. It's gotten covered. I can certainly unmark them and.
You want to just clean those up, Ed, and take some photos of that, and we could get those to Paul and the commission?
Also, we did go above and beyond the mitigation. We did plant about 30 of the native cedar trees on the property. I think we've lost 4 or 5 of them. There is a substantial amount of.
No, I did see that there were plenty. I don't think we're necessarily questioning the mitigation except for near your stairway and, dock going out to the floating area. So we were going to put in that you could have temporary mitigation for a period of time. And Bob? Didn't I say
Irrigation.
Yeah, that's why I said temporary irrigation.
Oh, I thought you said mitigation.
No, irrigation. So, Bob,
Yeah.
your
and
opinion?
As far as the demarcation goes too, we want more than a couple of cobblestones. I mean, usually every 8 feet or so, we'll have a stone or some kind of fencing just to protect those areas from mowing and people walking through, and just to call them out, because they're pretty important to the whole project.
Understood.
How long do you think they should have the temporary?
Temporary, most of the plants have survived. It's just a matter of a few. Even if you had the temporary in that area where by the stairway where the plants have died. Otherwise, from the photos, it looks pretty good. It
Yeah.
looks like everything's established
It is.
pretty well.
I
Yeah.
went out and I was out there this morning. So I thought it looked pretty good, but that one area, there was an issue. So Paul, how do you want to proceed?
Well, I think everything, I was ready to recommend approval with, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we're hearing you
Yes.
fine.
Yeah, we could continue it for a couple of weeks, give them a chance to put the demarcation markers in as Bob has requested. And, other than that, I think the coastal bank looked really good to me. They did go above and beyond with the mitigation, with the cedar trees. And 90% of it is more than that. It's probably healthy. So it's really just a matter of getting those stones in. And if you're comfortable with that, we can put this on for, a couple of weeks or a week, whatever. I mean, our next hearing is the 28th. We could do it then. And everyone's seen it. I've inspected it. Those who haven't can take a look. And I think we could wrap it up at that point.
I agree. How does that sound, Sean and Mr. Acton?
That's fine.
That sounds good.
Okay, so we'll continue this for the certificate of compliance to, till the 28th, August 28th.
Can I ask one question, Sean?
Yep.
So it says rock revetment and repair. I know this. I know the applicants are looking to have the dock access stairs over the coastal bank widened. They've got an application they're thinking about filing or have already filed as EBA. But I went down on the bank. I didn't notice, and maybe it's just grown over. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? Yeah, I know the bank was in rough shape before this was done, but I didn't see a lot of the rock revetment, maybe because there's been nourishment put and things have grown over it, but am I wrong about that, or am I?
Yes, so there wasn't anything done to the rock revetment itself. So there's a
Right.
rock revetment out there, and then there is a granite cap that's there. All we did was essentially infill the grade behind the granite, the row of granite blocks,
Okay.
and put filter fabric behind it. We didn't do any other modifications. There is a cut-in stair that was already there, and a small access path that was already there that's built into the revetment. Other than that, we didn't do anything to the revetment. I know the neighboring property is before you now with a portion of the revetment that has fallen into a sinkhole out there to the northwest.
Mr.
Yeah.
Melvin. Yeah. Okay, that's great. As I said, the coastal bank looks really good compared to what it was a few years back. So I think they did a terrific job with it. And let's just continue it to the 28th if the commission so desires, and we can get those other markers out there, and then we can wrap this up.
Very good. We'll send you in the pictures of those.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Cheryl?
Thank you.
I move that we continue the certificate of compliance for 24 and 2 Salt Pond Road to August 28th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, Paul?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Paul, next.
Can I, before we get to the minutes of June 5th, David Clark sent me an email on 443 Cockle Cove. Basically, he said he was logged in and unmuted. I'm going to read the email. It says, this is a excuse me. Give me 1 second to pull up the email. The Ellis plan that was submitted is not stamped by a qualified professional. No surveyor stamp. Sanitarians are not allowed by law to prepare plans that do not have a surveyor's stamp. I emailed him back and said, is this a COMCOM issue or more of a Board of Health issue? We approve the location. The Board of Health does the sanitarian aspect of it, and they may get a plan. And we've already moved on it. He just was unmuted. So I guess David, are you there?
I don't
No.
even see that he's logged in.
He says he was. So I guess given the issue that he's raised, I'll talk to Judy.
Okay.
But you've approved it. If there's no issue, we can just go forward. They can take care of their engineering plan with the Board of Health when that permit issues. But if it's not a CONCOM issue, then we're done. If it is, we'll probably have to re-advertise
Revisit
it
it.
and fix
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So now we're on to the minutes to be approved for June 5th, 2024.
Were there any modifications to the minutes by any of the commissioners?
I have June 12th on my agenda.
The agenda got changed.
Oh,
That's probably why. Yes, it was supposed to be June 5th and originally said June 12th. I notified Crystal, not understanding, and so that's why that's like that. But let's see. We don't have actually enough people to approve these minutes, because Eric's not here, and Janet's not here, and Bob is no longer on it. Oh, you can approve minutes, right? I think, yes, because you were in attendance. So we're okay. We have 4 people. Phew. Otherwise, we're going to have to table it to next time. And then we might still not have enough
We're going to play musical
people.
chairs.
All right, so we're okay, because Bob can approve minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes for the June 5th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
All right, Paul,
Aye.
you have to abstain. You weren't there.
Abstain, sorry.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
And Bob?
aye.
And I say aye. Okay, we're good. And that's approved. And Crystal, there were no changes, so those can go every place that you need to put them. Okay, Paul, are there any unforeseen things?
Just one. You had raised the issue of having associate members be allowed to vote. I
Correct.
alerted Greg to that issue. I think it would be great for Bob Delvecchio to be able to vote. You need a charter, town charter change, town meeting, and an act of the legislature to do it. 5, 6, 7, 8 towns have done it, including Orleans. And we should probably pursue that, Karen, at your direction, because I think it would be great to have. And also, think it'd be new members coming on would be more motivated if they could vote.
I agree.
But it'll take some time, but we will go forward with it with our town
Now-
council and what we have to do.
Do we, as a commission, need to vote to have that move forward?
I don't know. I mean, we could.
We could always do
think
it
we're at-
next meeting if we.
Yeah, we could always do it next week, and I'll have a discussion with Greg and see where he wants to go with this, and maybe we can get it moving. But it is a process,
Yes.
and it may very well require a vote. So, but for now, I think we just need to explore what do we have to do, and how do we go about it.
Right, and I did forward to you the 2 emails Cheryl sent me from Orleans. And thank you,
Great.
Cheryl, for all your help, because we definitely need to pursue this. And Bob's been on longer than I have, and, you know, he's going to the sites, he's at the meetings, he should be able to vote. And we need it.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else?
You're welcome. No, that's it.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, Cheryl,
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Paul,
Aye.
Cheryl,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
and I say aye. That's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you all. Yep.